It's great doing the Responsible Investment Annual Report. We talk about our activities as a responsible investor and showcase the things that we've been doing over the last year. I think the highlights from this year's report is probably our decision that we made on tobacco. So we've made the decision to go tobacco free across our portfolios. We also talk about moving into the asset class private markets, which is a new and innovative asset class for DC schemes. So I think those are probably the two biggest takeaways from the report. I think the nature of the asset class naturally lends itself to ESG. It's by nature a very long-term asset class. Assets are held for up to 20, 30 years, and this very much aligns with our long-term investment time horizons. Fund managers that we've appointed know that it's absolutely imperative to think about ESG risks and how they'll play out over the long term, how they'll affect the assets and the loans that we're making. It's very natural space for ESG, we think, within this asset class. Loans in private markets are generally long-term in nature, which means they have to be held to maturity, and we can't sell them on the secondary market if something were to go wrong. So it's really important that our fund managers incorporate ESG considerations in their due diligence and ongoing monitoring processes. And this is really to ensure that the borrowers are in the best possible position to make repayments on the loans that we make to them. Within our infrastructure debt mandate, climate considerations were absolutely paramount in that. It's really important to understand how climate risk, particularly physical climate risk, is going to impact the long-term sustainability of the assets and projects that we invest in. We've also seen a number of really interesting investment opportunities in social infrastructure and renewable energy, and these types of investments are becoming an increasingly important part of the investment opportunity set. So those assets will form part of our investment mandate in infrastructure debt. In the 2019 voting season, we saw a number of shareholder resolutions on sustainability. We started to see more issues on sustainability creep up the voting agenda, and they were playing quite a high profile at a number of AGMs this year. We were quite active in supporting many of those, particularly on climate change reporting. We also, as we do every year, hold boards to account on issues like executive pay, board independence, board diversity and auditor tenure. Our work on fair pay and the wider workforce also enables us to believe that boards should be considering the wider workforce when setting their own executive pay policies. And we think pension contributions are an important part of that. We've been talking to companies about ensuring that their pension contributions for executives are, the increases are made in line with the wider workforce. Looking ahead to next year, we're planning to step up our activities on cybersecurity. We've done a lot of research on that area. We're quite excited about feeding into the development of a new index, which we hope will aid transparency across this issue and drive behavioural change in UK companies. We're also planning to develop a climate change policy, which will hopefully allow us to take a strategic and more consistent approach to how we manage climate-related risks and opportunities across our entire investment approach. Looking back at how much we've accomplished and achieved over the year and pulling it all together in one report is quite satisfying, and we really look forward to sharing it with our members.